He's 73. He can retire. Like, seriously. SGC here, and we're back with a movie review. The Kingdom of Dreams and Madness. A documentary film about the Japanese animation house Studio Ghibli, directed by Sunada. This documentary was primarily shot as the studio worked to finish and release Hayao Miyazaki's last film, The Wind Rises, and Isao Takahata's The Tale of Princess Kaguya, both which were released in Japan last year. So if you didn't know, this is like technically the second documentary on Ghibli, because there was one TV segment back in '98 titled This Is How Ghibli Was Born, and it was only a 27-minute TV segment, whereas this movie documentary is 117 minutes. And it's really cool because it focuses on the three men who make up the studio's core. Everyone knows Miyazaki, and then some of us might know Isao Takahata, and I don't know if, you know, just watching directors, do you know the producer, Toshio Suzuki? Because he's pretty important as well. And the director, Sunada, was reportedly given free reign to pretty much anything, and she really captured the elements of the creative process behind the two directors, and also what Suzuki does as a producer at Ghibli, and also shows and interviews various people that work with Miyazaki and like how did they feel working with such a legend and all that. And that's pretty much the entire documentary, as it focuses on how Miyazaki starts with the storyboards of The Wind Rises to the point where he watches the complete film, and that's the entire documentary. So what did I think? First off, the way that Sunada filmed this was just great. It was very relaxed and very blunt and honest, or that's the atmosphere that I get from it. And Miyazaki is pretty honest throughout his interviews, so it's pretty fun to watch, definitely. And I just really loved the way that was filmed, because it was so casual and it was not like very like systematic, like, oh, we're getting down facts, but rather a conversation and a dialogue with these great creators. And I think that was the greatest part, is that The Wind Rises, I watched that film, so I really could connect on the level of creation and the creative process, and it was just great. And beyond that, Miyazaki also talked about his like inspirations and his worries about the world, like how he mentions about March 11th, the Fukushima nuclear plant thing happening in Japan. And it was just really great to see how this guy thinks, because beyond just the creative process, we get to go to his home, check out what he cares about, what he values, and it's just really great, and you really understand this guy so much more. And if you, like me, didn't really appreciate The Wind Rises, I think if you watch this, you would want to go back, because I definitely want to go back and watch it, because he talks about where he gets his inspiration from. He talks about where he gets his inspiration from, his motivations for this film, how it's close to his heart, and it's just really great. I don't want to ruin anything about how close he is, but it was just like, this will change your mind on The Wind Rises, and definitely will get you to give it another chance. Also, while following the producer Toshio Suzuki around, you get to know what kind of like the mindset is between the two directors, between Miyazaki and Takahata. Like, it's just great. Like, it's just like you see it from like an employee standpoint, even though he's a producer and he's like a core part, but it was just like, wow, it's just great. Like, you see some behind the scenes, even some scenes with Goro Miyazaki, Miyazaki's son, and there's some discussions that are going on. You see the process of poster choosing, color palette switching, dialogue changes, storyboard changes. It was just really great, and I definitely loved it. And like I said, like, Wind Rises, you gotta watch it. That's the biggest thing about this thing, is that if you didn't see Wind Rises or even The Tale of Princess Kaguya, you won't connect as well. Like, sure, like, definitely it's just like it's an interesting documentary on Ghibli, but if you have seen the two movies, you would appreciate this documentary so much more, like leaps and bounds for sure. So definitely there isn't anything wrong with this documentary, how it's filmed or how it's portrayed or anything, but definitely I think the lacking part is Isao Takahata. Like, sure, Princess Kaguya was released further down the line. I guess they weren't up to par to The Wind Rises, so there wasn't that much footage onto the creative process of Kaguya, and you get some slivers here and there, and I sort of wish that there was more. But I mean, if you understood that both of these directors are reclusive people, the fact that we got Miyazaki to do so much is already great. So I guess, you know, double-edged sword, as in like Takahata was just really busy doing Kaguya, so there wasn't really much time for him to just share about his thoughts and just stuff. I mean, there was a lot of rivalry existing through the interviews, as in like Miyazaki talks like trash to Takahata because they're just like rivals, and it's just, I wish there was more Takahata stuff, but I mean, I'm just great that I got so much Miyazaki. And yeah, so like I said before, definitely the flaw of this would be that if you didn't watch The Wind Rises, you would not get much out beyond just seeing what happens, because I think that further understanding and further appreciation and motivation and inspiration for the film like definitely shows throughout this documentary. And it's pretty much like, if you have seen The Wind Rises, this is something you definitely need to watch. And if you haven't seen it, just watch it anyway, or just basically go watch The Wind Rises and then watch this, and then you'll appreciate it and love it even more. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have seen this documentary, leave your comments down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. And this is it for the Kingdom of Dreams of Madness.